I want to touch on something that we've kind of skirted around this whole episode. And it, although many clinicians in our functional medicine space advocate diet and lifestyle first approaches to optimizing our health, there is often still a need for some bit of a nutraceutical supplement. And the problem, as you've pointed out, becomes compliance and pill fatigue, and patients are overwhelmed when you're going to hand them 5 to 10 supplements at once, clearly. What do you hear from clinicians as it relates to pill fatigue and compliance? And what are some of the strategies that you've heard have helped?
Yeah, well, practitioners, the pill fatigue is a huge dilemma in their practice, because getting a patient that is coming from a Centrum one-a-day mentality to starting a high-end therapeutic nutraceutical regimen is got its own challenges in and of itself. And when you're just trying to start someone off on the basics before you dive deep into their cardiometabolic, their hypothalamic pituitary adrenal index, their true deficiencies based upon, great diagnostic panels like what Genova has to offer, you want to start them off on the basics. And, when you can't even do that, it's difficult. It's difficult to take them to the next level, to achieve your clinical goals and help them walk down that path. So, a lot of clinicians are kind of pivoting to that pill pack role, you see out there. And what we're hearing on the challenges of that is it's not really lowering their capsule burden, because it's just unbottled capsules, the same number, with the same excipients we were just talking about in a packet. Whereas, the real best solution to do it is having something that's homogenously blended for them, that's getting rid of all that formula overlap. Like, think about how much vitamin B6 and vitamin E and vitamin D are all as window dressing across, 10, 12 separate bottles from 5 different manufacturers.
Sure.
They're just, if you really do an Excel spreadsheet, you're probably not taking the exact dose per day that you should be.
Right.
So by mitigating the formula overlap, by consolidating the formulations, it's the best solution to actually combating pill fatigue and promoting optimal compliance. And that's really what, that's the best strategy, and that's the premise behind our whole system and what we aim to achieve, to help our doctors.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point, right? Because it's like, but by the time you've got a patient on a multivitamin, and then your B vitamin supplement, and then your antioxidant supplement, and then you run their serum B12 levels, and it's like 10 million, you're like, oh, maybe I was triple dosing that B12.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like you give them a 5,000 IU vitamin D, but they might already be on 3,000 when you look at what's in their multi, what's in the 400 IUs that's in 5 different separate products. It's inefficient, frankly, and it's not optimal, because again, you're fitting a square peg in a round hole. It's one size fits all versus fully personalized. So there lies the difference.
But then, how much can you jam into one pill? You know what I mean?
Well, the physics still remain, right? You can only fit so much. It depends on the tap density and the volumes of the actual dosing combinations. And we actually, in our software, it tells you that, so it gives you a cumulative tap density, because our average personalized formula is 40 plus ingredients.
Wow.
Let's take all 40 ingredients at those specified doses that the practitioner created, and telling you that is going to take up 7.6 capsules per day at a 00 vegetable capsule size. So it's giving you that real-time information, and it's all just a math equation, based upon, the physics of how that actual, cumulative homogeneous blend can fit into that formulation.
Right.
Awesome.
Right. And what's the worst one from a tab? It's got to be magnesium, right? That thing's a honker.
Potassium pills are notorious.
Magnesium bisglycinate. It's when we're formulating at the elemental level. So if you say 200 milligrams of a magnesium source that we have about 12 different forms. Right. Everything from 3-8 to bisglycinate. I believe a lot of those are anywhere from 11 to 20% potency. So you do the math on how much actual raw material powder, including overages, you need to utilize to achieve that elemental potency. It can take up quite a bit of capsule space for those reasons.
Yeah, and I always think if you're taking that many capsules 3 times a day, you're not even hungry for food. I mean, That's a lot of capsules to be taken per day. So
my record's 23 and
wow.
one's supposed, and I'm still hungry. So
wow. Okay.
You each their own. But yeah, no,
That's awesome.
Less is more. Less is more. That's the goal.
Yes.
Right.
Well, and it goes back to what you were saying before, as far as helping people cross into understanding that past the centrum one a day sort of mentality, where it's like, if you kind of start to focus, like, here's the 4 or 5, but this is going to be actually specific to you, they're going to have a noticeable change in the way that they feel.
Right.
And then they're much more likely to be accepting of like, hey, this is working. Like, let's go harder. Let's go bigger. Let's hit all the spots.
That's exactly what we hear. When you optimize their baseline nutritional regimen and they're feeling great, that's so powerful, because the next appointment they go in, you start to get honesty from the patient. The patient starts to tell their practitioner, hey, you know what, doc, I've been taking CoQ10 from Amazon. I've been taking fish oil from Costco. I found this anti-aging supplement online that I'm taking. What do you think? It puts the doctor back in the decision-making quarterback chair they should be in, because now they're getting complete transparency from their patient. Because before, it was just like, what is this doctor going to recommend and sell to me from all these of other people's product? But now it's like, this doctor's writing a personalized prescription for me, and I want to be transparent and optimize this personalized prescription for myself in that fashion. And I think, as you just said, Michael, it's pretty powerful when they feel better and they're ready to go to the next step in their care. Now it's time to dial in my lipids and my blood sugar and my hormonal status, where you might have to put a pause on that if they're having trouble taking all the baseline things to even begin with.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that you say that too, because how many supplements have any of us taken throughout our lives where we're like, you notice anything? It's like, nah. Right? But then there's been times where I've had that right cocktail and I was like, oh, this is like, I'm feeling great. This is working. And it's so interesting how often, I don't know, in my experience, how rare that tends to be to find that like sort of perfect prescription.
But I also think when you're feeling that good based on that concoction, it's easier to make lifestyle choices too, because you're feeling better. You're more motivated to make some of the other lifestyle choices.
You're on the upward spiral.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to start out on the stuff where people feel better, right?
Right.
The stuff that moves the needle in the diagnostic panel, that you don't necessarily feel more energy or sleep better or have better cognitive function. Those are the things to probably work on a secondary level, especially when you're looking at a patient that is, kind of coming to the table with a little bit of hesitancy, and you can just sense a compliance issue right out of the gate.
Right.
So that's what we advocate. And by all means, it's definitely the best way to get started.
Awesome.
Nice.